In the dim glow of a neon sign flickering outside a roadside bar in the heart of rural California, a small figure burst through the twilight shadows. 8-year-old Lily Thompson, her pigtails disheveled and cheeks streaked with tears, sprinted toward a cluster of gleaming motorcycles parked in a row like silent guardians. The roar of engines had long faded, but the men astride them, tough, leather-clad bikers with tattoos snaking up their arms and beards that spoke of miles traveled, were still gathered, sharing stories under the setting sun. Lily didn't hesitate. "They're beating my mama," she wailed, her voice piercing the evening air like a siren. The bikers turned, their hardened faces softening in an instant as they saw the terror in her wide blue eyes. Big Mike, the unofficial leader of this chapter of the Hells Angels, knelt down first. He was a giant of a man, 6'5" with a scar across his cheek from a bar fight years ago, but his voice was gentle, like gravel wrapped in velvet. "Whoa there, little one. Slow down. Who's beating your mama?" Lily gasped for breath, pointing back toward the trailer park just down the road. "My daddy, he's mad again. He's hitting her, and I ran away to get help. Please, you gotta help." The other bikers exchanged glances. Men like them, often misunderstood as outlaws, knew the sting of judgment. But this? A child in distress. It hit different. Razor, a wiry veteran with a patch over one eye, muttered, "We can't just ignore this, Mike." And so, in that moment, a band of rebels became reluctant heroes. The group revved their engines to life, the thunderous rumble echoing through the valley as they followed Lily back to her home. She clung to Big Mike's broad back on his Harley, her small arms wrapped around his waist, trusting these strangers more than the fear that had driven her out. The trailer park was a forgotten corner of America, rows of weathered mobile homes where dreams went to fade. As they pulled up, the sounds of shouting spilled from Lily's unit, harsh words, a crash of furniture, and a woman's muffled cries. Big Mike signaled for the others to hang back. "We do this smart," he said. "No fists unless we have to. We're here for her, not a brawl." Pushing open the door, Big Mike stepped inside, his massive frame filling the doorway. Inside, the scene was chaos, overturned chairs, shattered glass, and in the corner, Sarah Thompson cowered, her face bruised and swollen, shielding herself from her husband, Tom, who loomed over her with a raised fist. Tom spun around, his bloodshot eyes widening at the sight of the biker. "Who the hell are you? Get out of my house." But Big Mike didn't flinch. "We're friends of Lily's," he said calmly. "And we're here to make sure this stops. Right now." Tom laughed, a bitter, drunken sound. "This is family business. Mind your own." But as the other bikers filed in behind Mike, Razor, Hawk, and a dozen more, the room grew tense. They didn't threaten, they just stood there, a wall of solidarity. What happened next was the first unexpected turn. Instead of charging in with violence, Big Mike pulled out his phone and dialed 911, his deep voice steady as he reported the domestic assault. Tom lunged, but Razor caught his arm mid-swing. "Easy, pal. We're not here to hurt you. But you're done hurting them." The police arrived minutes later, sirens blaring, and Tom was cuffed and led away, sputtering curses. Sarah, trembling, collapsed into Lily's arms, whispering thanks through sobs. But the bikers didn't leave. They stayed, helping clean up the mess, boarding up a broken window with plywood from Hawk's saddlebag. "You don't have to do this," Sarah said, her voice weak. Big Mike shrugged. "We know what it's like to be on the outside. Sometimes, all it takes is someone showing up." As the night deepened, the story unfolded in ways no one anticipated. Sarah confessed her fears, years of abuse, trapped by finances and isolation. She worked 2 jobs at a diner and a gas station, but it was never enough to escape. Lily, wide-eyed, listened as the bikers shared their own tales around a makeshift fire outside. Razor spoke of his sister, lost to a similar cycle. "I couldn't save her," he admitted, his voice cracking. But maybe we can save you. It was a profound realization for Sarah. These men, often painted as villains by society, carried their own scars of loss and redemption. They weren't angels in the biblical sense, but in that moment, they embodied the Hell's Angels' unspoken code, loyalty to the vulnerable. Word spread quickly through the trailer park. Neighbors peeked out, wary at first, but soon joined in. An elderly couple brought blankets, a young mother offered hot coffee. The bikers, with their rough exteriors, became a bridge, fostering a community Sarah had never known. Big Mike organized a quick collection among his crew, wallets opened, cash pooled. "It's not much," he said, handing Sarah an envelope with a few $100s, "but it'll get you and the kid to a shelter tonight." But that was just the start. Hawk, who ran a mechanic shop nearby, offered Sarah a job answering phones, no experience needed. "We need someone reliable," he said with a wink. "And you look like you've got fight in you." The emotional climax built the next morning. Sarah and Lily packed what little they had into an old duffel bag, ready to leave for a women's shelter in the city. But as they stepped outside, the bikers were waiting, engines idling. "We're escorting you," Big Mike declared. No arguments. The procession was a sight to behold, a convoy of Harleys surrounding Sarah's beat-up sedan, roaring down the highway like a protective shield. Lily waved from the back seat, her tears now of joy. Along the way, they stopped at a diner, where the bikers treated them to breakfast. Over pancakes, Sarah shared her dreams. Once, she'd wanted to be a teacher, but life had derailed her. Razor nodded. "Dreams don't die, they just wait. We'll help you get back on track." At the shelter, the staff stared in awe as the bikers unloaded bags of groceries they'd picked up en route. "Who are these guys?" one volunteer whispered. Sarah smiled through fresh tears. "They're family now." Big Mike knelt to Lily's level again. "You were brave, kid. Braver than most adults. If you ever need us, you know where to find us." Lily hugged him fiercely, her small frame lost in his embrace. It was a transformative moment, not just for Sarah and Lily, but for the bikers too. They rode away with lighter hearts, realizing that true strength lay not in rebellion, but in compassion. In the weeks that followed, the story rippled outward. Local news picked it up: Hell's Angels save mother and daughter from abuse. Comments flooded in, some skeptical, but most inspired. Sarah enrolled in community college, funded by a GoFundMe the bikers started. Lily thrived in her new school, drawing pictures of motorcycles and heroes. The bikers visited often, bringing toys for Lily and support for Sarah. One evening, as the sun set over the shelter's garden, Sarah turned to Big Mike. "Why did you help us? You didn't have to." He paused, staring at the horizon. "Because we've all been broken once. And kindness? It's the glue that fixes us. Plus, that little girl reminded me of what matters, protecting the innocent, no matter the cost." Years later, Lily would tell the tale to her own children, her voice steady and proud. "Never judge by appearances," she'd say. "The roughest exteriors often hide the softest hearts." And in a world quick to divide, their story stood as a beacon, that selflessness could bridge any gap, that humanity's power lay in unexpected acts of kindness. It reminded Americans, and people everywhere, that hope wasn't found in grand gestures, but in the quiet choice to stand up for one another. In the end, what the Hell's Angels did left everyone not just in awe, but forever changed, proving that even in darkness, light could roar to life on the back of a motorcycle.